Alright, it's a beautiful day to be out boating. And we're going really fast. Because we're being towed. Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. We're here again with the 1962 Dorset jet boat that I bought this summer. And we've had it out on the water, we've tested it, you probably saw that in a prior video. I think this is my part 3 or so of working with this boat. And today we're going to address some problems that we identified when we had it out on the water. Going to do some basic maintenance, going to check some stuff, tune some things up, hopefully get things running a little better. And then if all goes well, we'll have it out on the lake again. Alright, so even though I did buy this boat in working condition, I still have basically a 2-page to-do list of things to fix and add to it and tune up and check. When you own a boat, there's pretty much an infinite to-do list. This will almost never get shorter, it'll probably just get longer. But hopefully we can stay on top of these things and keep the boat running for a good long time. We had some smoke coming off the engine before. I think we've got an exhaust leak, and some of these bolts on the manifold are a little loose, so I'm just tightening those up. Another thing we noticed is the alternator belt was squealing, so I think the alternator loosened up a little bit. I'm going to try to adjust that, get it tightened up. Hopefully that squeal will go away. Supposedly this is how you tighten up an alternator. Alright, we've got the belt tightened up, but I'm still not convinced this is the correct bracket. It looks like somebody just made this, and the whole alternator kind of wiggles. There are some other holes here. I think there's probably a better way to do this. And this is a really standard engine. This is a Chevy 350 short block, so I would think there's just infinite amount of parts available for it online. Another thing I noticed is somebody routed the wires from the alternator onto the exhaust manifold, and they've started to melt right here, or at least the insulation has. So I'm going to have to fix that, reroute these wires, and hopefully not electrify my exhaust manifold. I'm going to add some grease to everything. And we did notice some water shooting out from somewhere around here when we were running it, so I'm not sure if there's a seal in here where the shaft goes through or what the deal is with that. I gotta find the manual for this Berkeley jet unit and see what I can do with it. A lot of the deck hardware is loose, like these cleats, so I'm sure the screws are stripped out inside there, and half the screws don't even match. So I'm gonna pop these out, put some adhesive down in there. For some of these you can't get to the inside because they're up inside the fiberglass mold and there's other stuff in there. So we'll have to make do with screws for a lot of them. Okay, so this one actually did have a wood backer up underneath, but this is like original 1960s plywood, and there's really not much holding it together, so I'll look for another little piece of scrap wood to jam in there. Well, that's not even in there at all. Putting a bigger washer in there. The previous washer was about this big, holding up the entire front handle. So if you actually tried to lift the boat by this, it would just rip right out of the hull. So I'm going to put in a bigger washer. So I've got this old trolling motor, which mostly works, and I'd like to mount it on the hull here. It doesn't really fit on the stern. This clamp that it comes with just doesn't quite fit this old stern. It looks like there used to be a motor mount here, but these holes don't really line up with any modern off-the-shelf motor mount you can buy. So I'm probably going to have to build one the way I did with my last boat. And I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to cheat, and instead of having a bracket this way, which would interfere with these mounting screws, I'm going to place a little shelf this way. I'm going to bolt this on like that, then my motor can come down, and the thrust will actually partly be on that swim step and then partly on this little shelf here. And that way I'm not having quite as much torque on a vertical bracket. I'm just pushing against the hull and against that swim step. Now that also lets me save time and money, because I think I have all the parts I need for this in my junk pile of aluminum scrap. Alright, so now we have an auxiliary motor mounted on here. And I will feel much better about going on trips in case the big engine quits on us. And the boat finally has a name. According to legend, a trader and moonshiner nicknamed Pig's Eye Pierre was the founder of the city of St. Paul, and Pig's Eye was supposedly the original name of St. Paul until some priest came along and decided that that wasn't very Catholic, so they renamed it. So this is a name with a lot of local history. It's the name of a local lake, and maybe we'll even get this boat out on that lake. Alright, next up I've got a marine radio for talking to locks and listening to Coast Guard broadcasts and talking to other boaters.
The forecast for the Twin Cities metropolitan area for the rest of the day, mostly sunny.
Okay, so my oil pressure and engine temperature sensors don't work, and I'm looking for those. I think this is the oil pressure sender. The temperature sensor, as far as I can tell, I think it's supposed to be here. And there's nothing there, there's just a plug. So I think maybe nobody bothered to install that when they redid this engine. So I'll see if I can find one of those. I've got the water temperature sensor, and it's a little too small, so I also had a bushing. I had to run to the hardware store for this guy, auto parts store for this guy. It's always fun to go to an auto parts store for a boat engine because they're like, what year is your car? What make and model are your car? We can't look up parts without a specific vehicle. I'm not sure how this thing is supposed to come out. It's like they forgot wrenches existed when they designed this sensor. So I guess you just grab it with some vice grips or something. Seems legit. So I went to another auto parts store and got a new oil pressure sensor, but it won't fit where the old one was. So I had to go back to the hardware store and get a million adapters to try to find one that would adapt from that hole to that sensor. And I am lucky this fits in here because there is very little clearance in this spot. I got a right angle adapter so I can stick it on sideways, and the internet claims these will still work sideways, so we're going to try that. Alright, I want to test run the engine with my new senders, so I'm going to unhook the cooling water supply from the jet, pop in this little adapter for a garden hose, and run hose water through the cooling system while I run the engine. Okay, temp is now working. So now we've got oil pressure, but possibly too much. So I don't know if I need to calibrate that or what. At least that belt stopped squeaking. Got this handy dandy little LED light insert that I got from Axeman, and it fits in here just about perfectly. So should be 12 volt, should use less power than that old style bulb, so we're going to swap it out. Alright, so I've had no luck figuring out the wiring for this little cabin light. Sometimes it has 12 volt, sometimes it has 6 volt, sometimes it has 1 volt. There's a short somewhere. And so I'm trying to take off this headliner to get to the wires. And of course, every fastener is different because, I don't know, using the same fastener twice is for chumps, I guess. So I'm trying to get this headliner off, we'll try to get to these wires. This is like day 4 of a 5-minute job to replace the light bulb in this light fixture. I found the light wires, and yeah, they're pieced together from like 100 different wires. I'm going to use this opportunity to wire the cabin for a separate battery, so we'll have a house battery that's completely separate from the starting battery, and that way we can run lights and interior electronics and any gadgetry in here off of a separate house battery. So it's starting to get a little cramped in this boat cabin. I've got way too much going on in here. I'm going to need a bigger boat just to have room for all the boat stuff I want to do. I'm just temporarily putting some wire nuts on this for testing. I've got a little fuse panel with switches that's on order that will eventually be mounted over here. Alright, so now we can charge our phones. And we've got LED cabin lights. I got some stickers in the cabin. Got some more over there, including our legally obligated ones. And then I've got some decor. I printed out some of the most ridiculous Dorset boat advertisements I could find. They actually did have a white tiger in the original 1960s ads. And then they had all these fun activities you could do in a Dorset boat, like shooting while your wife serves the beer, or skin diving for hot dogs, or there's the tiger again, or I guess shooting arrows at balloons because you want to lose your arrows and, you know, ruin your kid's birthday apparently. Blatant plug, you can totally buy these stickers if you go down to the store below this video or go to my Teespring site, and I'll link to that. You can buy vinyl stickers like this. Also, I highly recommend the Cruising the Cut channel on YouTube. It's a guy who just cruises around on a canal boat in the UK and talks about canal boating, and it's a really good channel. Alright, I added a couple more extras like a flashlight mount and the ever-important beverage holder for cabin passengers. The to-do list with a boat is never really done, but I think it's ready to go out on the river this weekend. The joys of boat ownership. Will it start? I guess we can throw the trolling motor on there and be really slow going home. At least This one was supposed to be the good boat. And here we are, absolutely blasting along at 2.2 miles an hour. We've gone to auxiliary mode since we can't get the jet to start again. At least we can enjoy the scenery from our slow boat. We're here at Upper River Services next to Pig's Eye Lake. I had to bring the boat up here since it's named Pig's Eye. Some interesting barges along here and towboats. I think that larger one there is just used as a crew dormitory. I don't think that one moves anymore. Looks like they ran out of paint halfway through redoing the towboat there. Alright, it looks like we've got the cops called on us now. How's it going? What's that?
Yeah, slow down so I wouldn't rock you.
Oh, thanks.
You're not stranded or anything, are you?
No, we got the trolling motor. The main had an issue, but we're just back at the bridge there at the launch ramp.
Oh,
so.
you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, we're taking off.
Yeah.
So if you want us to give you a quick call back, it's not too far. We can get you back there pretty quick.
Oh, sure, why not? Well, this is the second fastest we've gone today. Well, we can do one of those how it started, how it's going montages. Okay, we're back on land again, and we did take the boat right over to an expert on old-style American engines, and he knew of a very specific tool that's used to fix this exact problem. You take a 2x4 and you whack the starter solenoid, and that made it work right away. So we will have to make sure to equip a boat 2x4 in the future, and we'll have this out on the water again, hopefully with fewer cops next time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.